Hello and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles. I was cheated on, humiliated, and called an infertile failure, so I exposed them all. I should have known it would come to this. Actually, I did know from the moment the invitation to my brother Noah's wedding landed in my mailbox. It wasn't so much an invitation as it was a summons, a perfectly staged production where every family member had a scripted role. Noah, as always, the golden child. Me, the family disappointment. But I went anyway, not out of hope, not out of some yearning to be accepted, not even for my brother. I went because I had a plan. But before we get to that, let me tell you how I ended up here. I walked into the Grand Belmont Ballroom, one of the city's most lavish venues. A massive crystal chandelier sparkled overhead, dangling like a show of dominance. The tables were laid with golden-rimmed plates, overflowing white roses, and top-shelf wine. Every inch of the space screamed wealth and status. Exactly the kind of show Noah and our parents, Charlie and Rachel, thrived on. I took a steadying breath. This wasn't my world. It never had been. Ronan, the name sliced through the hum of the crowd. I turned and saw my mother, Rachel, standing by the entrance. Her gold sequin gown shimmered, her hair perfectly sculpted, every detail of her appearance screaming control. She looked me over, lips tightening. "You could have dressed up a bit more," she said, her tone cool and clipped. I glanced down at my navy blue suit. Simple, clean, appropriate. "Didn't realize there was a uniform," I replied. Voice even. She made a faint disapproving sound. "Well, at least you showed up. Try not to cause a scene." And just like that, she turned and vanished into the crowd. Try not to cause a scene. Funny, really. As if I'd ever been the one seeking drama, as if I were the problem. I moved through the ballroom, navigating a sea of grinning investors, smug family friends, and polished nobodies. I knew exactly why I was invited to be paraded as the cautionary tale, the black sheep, the screw-up, and soon they'd make sure everyone remembered. I reached table 14, tucked in the back, far from the head table. I was surrounded by third cousins and distant acquaintances, carefully seated out of view, out of relevance. A waiter topped off my champagne. I held the glass loosely, the cool stem grounding me. Then the lights dimmed. Music faded. A spotlight illuminated the large screen at the front of the room. Noah stood, tuxedo sharp, microphone in hand, his grin polished to perfection. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he said, his voice smooth and practiced. "It means so much to share this moment with our closest friends and family. And as a treat, I put together a little something for all of you. Some memories, some laughs, and a lot of love, applause, excitement." I took a slow sip of my drink. I knew exactly where this was headed. The screen lit up. First photos of Noah and his bride, Julia on vacations at award ceremonies hugging our parents. The crowd gushed. Then came photos of Noah and our parents. Noah's first baseball game. Noah graduating from Harvard. Noah closing his first real estate deal. Noah shaking hands with a business mogul. Noah, always the golden boy. Then the slideshow shifts. A picture of me flashes on the screen. The caption beneath it is bold, unmistakable, infertile, divorced, failure, high school dropout, low income, single. For a moment, there's nothing but silence, then laughter. It erupts across the room, sharp, cruel, uncontrollable. Noah's grin widens, basking in the moment. "Come on, don't laugh too hard," he says, voice dripping with mockery. He might cry. My mother takes a sip of her wine. My father, Charlie, chuckles quietly. My ex-wife, Olive, smirks. The laughter ripples through the crowd like a wave. Snickers from cousins. A whispered pathetic from an old family friend. Someone clinks their glass in mock celebration. I sit in silence, my grip tightening around my phone. Not yet, Ronan, not yet. I feel the eyes on me, watching, waiting for me to break, waiting for me to confirm everything they've ever believed. But I don't break, because this moment is exactly what I planned for. Noah keeps talking, but his voice fades into background noise drowned out by the pulse pounding in my ears. the electricity coursing through my veins. I glance at the screen one last time, locking the image in my memory. Then I pull out my phone. I press a button. My voice is calm, steady as I begin. The room quiets instantly. The screen flickers, it glitches. The slideshow crashes. And then a new image appears. Bold white letters illuminate the screen under the spotlight. Breaking free. The reality of emotional abuse by family. The laughter dies in an instant. Confusion sweeps across the ballroom like a sudden chill. My mother lowers her glass. My father straightens in his chair. Olive's smile fades. Noah's practiced confidence begins to crack. People start whispering, shifting in their seats. Then in the corner of the screen, a notification appears. Live viewers 240,000, 60,000. The number keeps climbing. A new message flashes across the screen. Undeniable bold. A comment from Olive's fiancé. The evidence is gathered. The legal team is standing by. You are not alone anymore. I look up. My eyes lock with Noah. For the first time, I see it. Fear. Real, raw fear. I exhale slow and controlled. Let's begin, shall we? And just like that, everything changes. For the first time in my life, I hold the mic. The irony. For years, they treated me like I was nothing, and maybe for a while, I believed them. Because when the people who are supposed to love you only ever highlight your flaws, it's easy to absorb their lies. Easy to think maybe you are the disappointment they say you are. For years, I let their voices shape me. Noah's endless success, my father's cold judgment, my mother's cutting indifference. Worst of all, I let Olive betray me. I let her take everything and still manage to blame myself. But not anymore. Because what they never cared to ask, what they never even considered, is that I stopped being their scapegoat a long time ago. And tonight, they're about to find out exactly who I've become. To my family, I'm nothing more than a low-income divorced office clerk, barely scraping by in a dead-end job. That's the version of me they chose to believe. But the truth, I run Breaking Free, a global online community for survivors of emotional abuse. What began as an anonymous blog 3 years ago has evolved into a powerful movement. A YouTube channel with millions of subscribers, a nonprofit making real-world change, and a lifeline for countless people trying to escape the kind of toxicity I was raised in. And they have absolutely no idea. My father, Charlie Connor, built a real estate empire from the ground up. My mother, Rachel Connor, secured her place in high society, admired as a woman of grace and influence. My brother, Noah Connor, followed in their footsteps. Harvard graduate, wealthy, and now marrying into another influential family. They are the picture-perfect Connor family, and I'm the blemish, the embarrassment. They never once asked about my life. Never once wondered how I spent my time. Never once considered that I might have something meaningful to offer the world because they never cared to know. They never saw what I was building. They never saw the thousands of survivors who found courage in my videos. They never read the messages from people who left abusive homes because of my work. They never watched me speak from stages about emotional resilience. They never saw the best-selling book I published under a pseudonym that became a lifeline to others who, like me, were told they were nothing. They never saw me. But tonight, for the first time, they're about to. This wasn't some impulsive stunt. I didn't walk into this wedding reception unprepared. I spent 2 years quietly gathering evidence recordings, emails, financial records. I worked alongside lawyers, therapists, and experts in emotional abuse to build an airtight case. I connected with members of my online community, people who knew this pain, who were watching this moment unfold live. I didn't come here just to make a statement, I came to win. And as I glance at my phone, watching the live viewer count soar, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Power. Not the kind that comes from status, wealth, or manipulation. The kind my family worships. No, this power comes from truth, from standing firm, from no longer being afraid. The room's energy shifts, I can feel it. People are turning to the massive screen behind Noah, trying to process what they're seeing. I see my father's jaw clench, his fingers wrapped tight around his glass of scotch. I see my mother stiffen, her eyes darting toward my phone as if she already knows I'm behind this. I see Noah's confident expression dissolve into confusion, then something deeper unease. And then the first on-screen notification appears. Live viewers 850,000, 1 million, 1.2 million. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Whispers rise. What is this? Why is it live? But I'm not watching them. I'm watching Olive. She's staring at the screen now, her expression blank. And then she sees it. A new message, highlighted in bold, appears on the screen. A comment from her fiancé. The evidence is gathered. The legal team is standing by. You are not alone anymore. Her face drains of color so quickly I think she might faint. I tilt my head slightly, watching Olive's reaction. She turns toward me, lips parted in disbelief. Ronan, what did you do? I don't answer. I simply raise my glass in a slow, deliberate toast. And for the first time tonight, I smile. The truth will be heard. The murmurs in the room swell. Guests are pulling out their phones, tuning into the live stream that's unfolding right before them. The screen flickers again and a new message appears. Welcome to Breaking Free Life, the reality of emotional abuse by family. Noah, still gripping the microphone, finally speaks. What the hell is going on? His voice no longer carries the confident practice charm. It's edged with panic now. I lean forward slightly, tapping my fingers against my champagne glass. I thought you liked presentations. Noah, I say casually, since you worked so hard to humiliate me with yours, I figured it was only fair. I show the audience a different side of our family. His face tightens. This isn't funny, Ronan. I arch an eyebrow. Oh, I agree. There's nothing funny about it. I glance at the screen, then tap my phone. The first recording plays clear and loud through the venue's speakers. He's just weak. He never had what it takes to be a Connor. We should have cut him off years ago. My father's voice, Charlie Connor. The room goes utterly silent. I take my time scanning the room, watching their faces shift. Rachel's hand clenches around her wine glass. Noah's grip on the microphone tightens. Olive flinches. And my father, always so composed, always in control, finally looks unsettled. Then I play the next clip. Ronan is a disappointment. He's infertile, he's weak, he's a failure. I don't even know why we still invite him to family events. Noah's voice. I turn to him slowly. His forehead is slick with sweat. You were saying? I ask. He takes a step toward me, voice low and shaking with rage. Turn it off. Now I tilt my head again. Why are you ashamed? You weren't ashamed when you said it. He lunges, furious, reckless. But I don't move. I don't need to. Not with 1.5 million people watching. Not when every second is being recorded. Not when I hold all the power now. And as I scan the room, watching the cracks spread through their carefully polished facade, I realize something. They will never silence me again. For years, I wondered what it would feel like to sit in a room full of people who spent their lives diminishing me, who refused to see me, who wrote me off completely and finally hold the power. Now I know, and let me tell you, it feels incredible. The moment my father's voice echoes through the speakers, the atmosphere in the ballroom shifts. The illusion crumbles piece by piece. Noah's mask of smug control slips, replaced with something far more honest. Fear. Rachel freezes mid-motion, her wine glass trembling in her hand. Olive grips the tablecloth so tightly, and Charlie Connor, the man who built an empire who always commands the room, sits pale and unsteady like he's about to vomit. The guests are whispering now, their voices rising. Did Charlie really say that? Are we being recorded? What is this? My phone buzzes in my palm. The live stream viewer count surges 1.6 million, 1.72 million. This isn't just a scandal anymore, it's a public execution and I'm the one holding the blade. Noah's panic finally sets in. He slams his microphone down and storms toward me, his pristine wedding tuxedo rumbling with every furious step. Ronan, he snaps, his voice ragged with rage. Turn that off. I look at him, tilting my head like I'm actually giving it some thought. Then I smirk. Why? Feeling exposed. His jaw tightens. You don't know what you're doing. I lean back in my chair, casually tapping my fingers against my phone. Oh, I know exactly what I'm doing, little brother. I'm just curious how long you can keep pretending before the bride walks out. That's it. He snaps. Noah lunges at me, but I don't move. I don't have to. Security intercepts him before he even gets close. Two men in sleek black suits grab him by the arms, halting him mid-charge. You're embarrassing yourself. Noah, I say evenly, my voice calm. That's my job, remember? Scattered gasps ripple through the crowd. Noah thrashes against the guards, face flushed and trembling with fury. You smug little. I press another button. The next recording begins. Ronan was a mistake. My mother's voice. Rachel Connor, the woman who spent her entire life building the perfect image, the perfect family, the perfect line, now finds herself dead center in a nightmare she can't control. We should have never had him. He's nothing like Noah. Noah is strong. Noah is successful. Ronan is just pathetic. Chaos breaks loose. I hear the sound of glass shattering. Gasps ring out from across the room. All eyes are on my mother, some horrified, some stunned. But the best reaction, Julia. Noah's bride-to-be. Her jaw is set. Her hands tremble at her sides. She turns to my mother, her voice dangerously calm. You said that about your own son? Rachel's eyes widen. She blinks rapidly, breath shallow. That was taken out of context. Oh, it gets better, I interrupt smoothly. Let's hear what she said about you, Julia. Rachel's head snaps toward me. Ronan, don't you dare. I press play. I don't care about that girl. She's just a pretty little pawn for Noah to marry. A social climb. The silence that follows is thunderous. Julia stares at the screen, then at Rachel, then Noah. Her hands are visibly shaking. You used me? She whispers. Noah reaches for her, desperate. Baby, no. She's twisting it. Julia slaps his hand away. The crowd erupts again. Are you serious right now? She hisses. Your whole family treats people like they're disposable, and you expect me to just smile and go along with it? Noah is sweating, his voice cracking. It's not like that. It is exactly like that. I cut in. Welcome to the Connor family, Julia. If you think they ever actually cared about you, you're more naive than I thought. Julia steps back, her voice breaking. You're a fraud, Noah, and your family is disgusting. She rips the engagement ring off her finger and throws it at his chest. I'm done. The ring clatters loudly against the floor. Noah stands frozen, stunned. And just like that, the wedding is over. I barely have a second to savor the moment before my father finally snaps. Enough! Charlie roars, slamming both hands on the table. The entire ballroom jolts. He's on his feet now, face flushed, eyes blazing with hatred, glaring straight at me. You think this makes you powerful? My father spits. You think ruining your family's name makes you a man? I meet his gaze head on, unwavering. No, I say, voice calm and firm. I think surviving you made me a man. The room is silent now. No more whispers, just wide eyes and held breaths. I rise from my chair, then I press one final button, the killing blow. Charlie Connor has been under investigation for financial fraud for the past 6 months. Chaos explodes, gasps, shouts, a collective wave of disbelief. On the massive screen behind me, emails, bank statements, and leaked documents begin to appear. Each one damning, each one undeniable. My father's face drains of color, the blood vanishing like someone pulled a plug. The last time I saw him look that terrified, I was 10 years old, holding a report card with a single B+. He'd call me useless, a disgrace, a stain on the Connor name. Now he's the disgrace. Now he's the failure. And me, I'm just getting started. The wedding is officially over. Noah's bride is gone. My mother shattered, my father teetering on the edge of legal and financial ruin. And me, I'm walking out with my head high. I glance at my phone. 2.5 million viewers. That's 2.5 million people who finally know the truth. I breathe out slowly, and for the first time in my life, I feel something unexpected. Relief. For the first time ever, I'm not the failure. I'm not the black sheep. I'm not the afterthought. I'm free. As I turn to leave, my father hurls one last attempt to reassert control. Ronan, if you walk out that door, you're dead to this family. I pause, and without turning around, I say the words I've waited a lifetime to speak. I was dead to you a long time ago. Then I step into the night. I don't look back. I leave behind the shattered remains of my brother's wedding, the wreckage of the Connor image. But this isn't the end. Not yet. Exposing the lie of our perfect family, that was just step one. Now comes step two. Justice. They mocked me, dismissed me, humiliated me for years. But tonight, I made sure they'll never forget my name. Inside the ballroom, chaos reigns. Noah stands alone, tuxedo wrinkled, stunned. The engagement ring still lies on the floor, exactly where Julia threw it. Charlie Connor, red-faced, furious, watches his business allies quietly begin to distance themselves. Rachel is frozen in place, hand over her mouth, eyes darting like she's searching for the nearest escape. I could walk away, let the wreckage settle, let them try to salvage whatever pieces of their pride remain. But it wouldn't be enough because one last lie still needs unraveling, and I know exactly how to pull the thread. So I turn. I step back into the ballroom. Instant silence. Every whisper, every murmur dies the second they see me reappear. Noah sees me first. His expression twists fury, hatred, and now fear. Good, I walk calmly, confidently back toward my seat. I lift my champagne glass and take a slow, deliberate sip before speaking. Well, I say evenly. Now that we've had our little intermission, let's move on to the main event. No one moves. The room is tense, breathless. I tap my phone again. The next recording begins. I never loved Ronan. He was just convenient. A hush falls over the room. I don't even need to look. I already know Olive, my ex-wife, has gone pale. The audio plays on. I mean, come on. He's infertile. He's weak. I needed a man who could actually give me a future. Someone like Noah. Gasps ripple through the guests like a shockwave. I turn slowly toward my brother, swirling the champagne in my glass. You know, I say, calm, composed, I always wondered why Olive felt so at home at our family events. Noah stiffens. His eyes flick toward Olive. My mother draws a sharp breath. My father's expression tightens, but he stays silent. He already knows. They all do. Because this betrayal wasn't just mine to carry, it was all of theirs. The screen behind me lights up again, this time with a text exchange. Olive, I hate sneaking around, baby. I wish we didn't have to hide it. Noah, just hold on a little longer. Ronan will break soon. He's too weak to fight back. Olive, I don't even care if he finds out. He's pathetic. He'll just blame himself like always. No, I know. That's why it's so easy. I let it sink in. Let the truth settle over the room like smoke from a long burning fire. My mother slowly lowers her wine glass, her hands trembling. My father finally speaks, voice low and cold. You slept with your brother's wife? Noah's mouth opens. Nothing comes out. Olive looks like she wants to disappear. I should feel hurt, angry, crushed. But the truth is, I've known. I just needed the world to hear it from them. I lean forward, resting my forearms on the table. So tell me, I say casually, was it worth it? Noah explodes. This is insane. He yells, You're just trying to destroy me because you're jealous. I raise an eyebrow. Jealous of what? Your wrecked engagement? Your crumbling reputation? The fraud empire you built on lies? He slams his fists onto the table, eyes blazing. You don't belong here. He spits. You've always been pathetic. You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. I just smirk. Then I press play on the final recording. The lie that held everything together shattered. Ronan isn't infertile. A heavy, echoing silence fills the room. The doctor said he was fine, but we had to make sure people saw Noah as the stronger one. Ronan could never be allowed to be an equal. It had to be Noah. It was always Noah, my father's voice. I turned to him, watching the last pieces of his legacy collapse. And for once, he's speechless. Rachel looks like she's about to be sick. Noah looks like he might faint. The guests aren't whispering anymore, they're staring. Staring at the Connors like something rotten has finally been dragged into the light because that's exactly what they are. I take another sip of champagne, then I rise from my chair. For years, I say, voice steady, "You call me a failure." I gesture to the crowd. You told them I was the disgrace. I look at my father that I wasn't strong enough, then to my mother that I wasn't worth loving. I lock eyes with Noah that I wasn't even a real man. I say, letting the words hang in the air. Then I smirk. And yet here we are. I gesture toward the screen at the recordings, the documents, the truth laid bare. Tell me, Noah, who's the failure now? Olive grabs her purse and flees. Noah stumbles backward, staring at the floor like it might swallow him. My mother wipes her hands over her face for once in her life, speechless. My father just sits there hollow and defeated. And me? I walk toward the exit, not as the family embarrassment, not as the outcast, but as the man who finally broke free. I step into the night, inhale the cold air, and let it all fall away. The guilt, the shame, the lies gone like a heavy coat, shrugged off my shoulders. For the first time, I don't carry their words with me. For the first time, I'm truly free. I glance down at my phone. Over 3 million viewers, and I smile because now the entire world knows the truth.